guys, Adam here, and today in this video we'll be going over Apple Mail. Apple Mail is used to send, receive, and manage all of your email accounts in one central location. If you're coming from Windows, you might already be familiar with Windows Mail or Microsoft Office's Outlook, except that Mail on a Mac is split up into three different apps. You have the Mail app, Contacts, and Calendars. So let's jump right in. When you first open up Mail, it may prompt you to add an email account. But if it doesn't, or you want to add another account, I'll show you how now. You go up to Mail at the top of the screen and click Accounts, and that actually brings you over to the System Preferences pane, where you can add any account, whether it is your social media account or an email account. If you have an email from one of the common email providers like Gmail, AOL, or Yahoo, then it'll already be on this list, and all you're going to need is the email address and the password to set it up. If you have an email for business that's hosted by a company like GoDaddy or HostGator, or if you're a student and you have an email through your school, you'll need the incoming and outgoing mail server settings from the host that's hosting the email, or you can get it from your school or whatever. Today I'll be setting up a Gmail account as an example. So I'll choose Gmail, and it's going to ask for the email. And the password. And as you can see here, email accounts store more than just email. Your email account will have its own address book that you can bring over, and its own calendar that you can bring over. Now, not all email accounts have this kind of information, but if it does, you can choose whether or not you want it to come over to your local address book or your calendar app on your Mac. So you can check off those boxes here. We'll hit done, and if we go back to the Mail program, it should start to import my new email. So once your email's been set up, you'll start to see your inbox load in here. So first we'll talk about how to view your emails, and then we'll talk about the different ways you can send emails and send attachments and that kind of stuff. Unread messages are marked with a blue dot. When you click on a message, it will appear here on the right pane or the right side of the window, and you can scroll within this window through the email. If you double click on any email, it'll actually open up in a new window, which is useful for viewing multiple things at once. But for now, we'll close that. What I like about Apple Mail is that it makes it very easy to sort through your emails. This little button here will actually let you sort your emails based on who sent it, or emails that were sent to a specific person, or by date, or by whether or not it has attachments. Over here we have a new button that's new to macOS Sierra. When you hit this, it only shows unread messages. It's very useful for just catching up with the emails that you haven't seen yet and just hiding everything else. So if I click it again, it'll show all messages. This sidebar here, where you can switch between your inbox, your send box, and your trash, it could be hidden by clicking on this mailboxes button, and you can still access those boxes by hitting the buttons over here, like send box and your drafts, etc. But I like to have it showing all the time because you can actually create mail folders or mailboxes to organize your mail, which we'll talk about in a minute. Along the top, you have our default buttons here, and the first one is Get Mail, which the mail program is automatically fetching new mail for you. You don't really have to hit that button. But if you notice that it hasn't updated in a little while, you can click that and it'll check for all new mail. Here's where you would start a new message, which we're going to talk about in a minute, all the different ways you can send messages and the shortcuts and all that cool stuff. Then we have our standard buttons for deleting emails, marking as junk so that the mail program will start to filter those emails. You can reply all, forward. Those controls are up here. So you can also mark important emails with the flag button. So if you click on an email and click flag, then you'll notice that it has a red flag icon now to the left of it. And also a new mailbox appeared called Flagged, which will just show all of the emails that you've marked as flagged. Makes it very useful for coming back to emails that you need to, revisit later on. Now, going back to inbox, we also have a few other buttons here, but I want to show you that all the buttons along the top here can be changed by going up to View here at the top and hitting Customize Toolbar will allow you to actually remove any icon you want and add a bunch of other buttons for other functions. Like, I don't think that the smaller, bigger buttons are there by default, but you can add that. It makes the text bigger or smaller in the email that you're looking at. You can add buttons to change colors of fonts. There's some pretty cool stuff in here. So if you notice that you're missing a certain function that you're used to from another program, most likely you can do it by looking inside here and adding that button to your toolbar. Now, another thing that Mail does is it actually groups together emails that are in a style conversation. So here I did an example. I was just emailing myself back and forth from another account. Whenever you have an email that you reply to and then the person you're sending it to also replies back and you reply back and it goes back and forth, what Mail does is it groups it all into one email and puts a little number on the right side here. You'll notice that that number is in blue if it's not selected. If you click on that number, it shows you that this group is actually 2 emails, and this number can get really high. You know, if you're emailing back and forth for a month with somebody having a conversation, all of those emails will be grouped together. So when it's selected, along the right here, you'll see all the emails from the person that you're sending to and the responses that you gave them. So from the beginning here, I wrote, did you get those reports? I responded back, added an attachment, so it makes it really easy to keep track of a conversation that you're having with somebody through email. So on that note, let's talk about how to view and download attachments that you get through email. So if an email has an attachment, you'll notice a little paperclip icon to the left of the person sending it. So I know that somewhere inside here there's an attachment. So here's the email with the attachment. Normally, if it's a picture, it'll just show up in the email as a part of the conversation. It'll just show up right in the email. You don't have to do anything special. But if it's a file, like this example document, it'll show up at the bottom of the email. And there's a couple different ways that you can download it or view it. One is if you just single click on it and hit the space bar, you'll actually get a quick preview of the document. So this is very useful if you just want to look at what's inside the attachment without having to download it to your computer. You just click once and hit space. And when you're done, you can just click on the X or hit space again and it minimizes. Very useful if you just want to look at a report that somebody sent you or something along those lines and you don't want to have to download it. Now, if you do want to download it, then when you hover over the middle of the message bar here, you'll notice the little paperclip with the number. You can click on that, and you can have it save all the attachments in the email, or just save that one attachment that you want. So if we click it, it'll ask us where we want to download it to. So here it's downloads. You can rename it and then just hit save, and now it's in your computer. Another thing that I really love about the Mail program is the search bar. This search bar is extremely powerful. It can search through a variety of keywords and statements that you put in there. So you can just search by person. So I can type in Adam and it'll show me all emails from Adam. And I can change this little indicator and say, you know what, I want to see all emails to Adam. Or I can say any emails that have the name Adam in it. You can change it there. Another example would be emails from Andy in the last week. And there we go. It'll show me emails. So you can use time frames. You can kind of type in there as if you were talking to your own personal assistant. Like, show me all the emails from John in the last 2 weeks. Or show me emails from Mary from the month of December. The search is really thorough and really fast, and once you get into the habit of using it, you'll find yourself using it more than just scrolling through your inbox and finding particular emails. So next, let's talk about customizing your mailboxes. So Mailboxes are kind of like folders for your email, and it's a way of organizing your mail. These are also called mailboxes, like your inbox and your sent and trash, but you can create your own mailboxes down here. So Google already created one for us called important, but if we want to create our own, you would just hover over the type of account down here, because if you have multiple accounts, they'll all be listed over here. So you hover over the account, hit the plus symbol, and then you can name the mailbox. So let's do one for travel. I'll just make a travel mailbox, hit OK, and you'll notice that I now have a folder called travel. And if I want to start filing away emails that are related to travel, all I have to do is click and drag it over to that mailbox. And now if I look at it, I have that in there. Pretty cool. Makes it very useful for organizing your email. You can get real creative with these. You can have one for bills. You can have one for invoices. Whatever's relevant to you. It's a way of just organizing the mass clutter of our email boxes. So let's talk about how to send emails, and then I'll leave you with a few tips before we end this video. To write a new message, you'd click on the new message button here in the corner, and a new window opens up with your standard fields of to CC, BCC. To add someone's email, you can just type in their name if you already have them saved to your address book with the email. Or you can type out the whole email address. So in this case, I'll just type in Gary, let's see, and it brings up some example emails that I have in there. These are just sample contacts that I have in my address book. If I type in Gary, it will try to autofill the rest of it. And if I just hit tab, then you'll see it'll just show Gary's name there, even though it's actually going to send it to his email address. Another way of adding contacts directly from your address book is hitting this blue plus symbol here on the right. If you click on that, it will actually show you your address book, and I can click on any person in particular and click on their email, and you'll see it adds them in there too. Now by default you may not have the CC, BCC fields, and if you want to add those fields or change them, you would hit this button right up here. If I don't care to see the BCC field, I can just uncheck that and it disappears. You can just check off any of these boxes here and make them appear. So once you've added your recipients, you can go down and add your subject. So I'll just write something here. And the body of the message is down here along the bottom. Along the top here, you have your standard text formatting bar where you can change like the color and the font and all that stuff. But if you want to set your default font, you can actually go into the mail preferences over here, and under the fonts and colors tab you can change the size and the type of font that is used when you read your messages, or when you write your messages. This is also where you would change the size of the font for when you're reading your emails, also how they appear in the list, and the color of the quoted emails. If you're having a conversation through emails and quoting back and forth, you can change those default colors here. There's actually a bunch of cool settings in here that you can explore. One of the very important ones is the signatures tab, where you can set up signatures for your different emails. Signatures are just basically it's a block of text that goes at the end of your email that has like your name and your information and even your company logo if you want to. To add a signature, you would first create the signature under all signatures by hitting the little plus symbol here. I'll write new signature. And then you can edit your signature over here on the side. And once you're done creating your signature for that particular account, you can then drag it to the account that you want. If you had multiple email accounts, like more than one business account or a school email account, they would all appear here, and then you can drag the signatures to the appropriate accounts. Once you have your signature set up, then when you compose a new message, you can actually click over here on signature and just add in your signature like that. So you can also change whether or not that signature appears automatically by going back to edit signatures. That'll bring us back to the preferences. And if I click on Google, I can choose that signature as being my default signature, so that when I compose a new message, let me close this one again, it will automatically be there. Now, there's actually multiple ways of sending emails in the mail program, and this is where the mail program becomes very useful, and this is the reason why I love it so much. Let's just say I am in Finder looking through my files, and I realize that I have to send this to one of my friends. I can actually just drag the file directly to the mail program on the bottom, and you'll see it actually composes a new message for me and attaches the file automatically. And then all I have to do is type in the name of the person I'm sending it to, and then I can add my message. I can move this down, add my message. Here's the report. And just hit send. It makes it really easy to send attachments right from the Finder. I'm gonna hit don't save for this. Now that's the shortcut for attaching emails right from Finder. The standard way to attach a file to an email is right through the new message window. You have your paperclip icon along the top over here. When you click on that, it'll bring open the file Finder window, and you can just choose the file you want and just hit choose file, and it'll attach it there also. Now also, certain files will just show up full screen like I mentioned before instead of a file like that. So for example, if I attach a PDF, so let's see, I have an example PDF here. You'll notice that the whole PDF shows in the body of the message. If people are viewing it on a mail program like Outlook or their iPhone or their iPad, they'll just see the whole document in there and they can download it like a regular attachment. But if they're viewing it through, let's say, like AOL on the website and they're not using a mail program, it'll just show up as a regular attachment and they can download it to their computer. The same thing goes for photographs. So let me remove this. And if I were to just attach a photograph, like this one on my desktop, I'll hit choose, then it actually shows up in the body of the message. So it's pretty cool. Now, when you're sending photographs, sometimes if you want to send a bunch of photos, then they may not fit depending on how large an email your email provider like Google or AOL allows you to send. So you can actually adjust the size of the photos using this little button over here. If you choose medium or small, for some photos it won't make that big of a difference because they weren't that large to begin with, but if I were to choose small, it will shrink the photo and make the file size a lot smaller so that I can fit in a whole bunch. If you really do care about the quality of the photo, you want to keep it large. But if you want to send a bunch of icons or smaller images, you can lower the size there. Or if you just want something to appear in the body of a few paragraphs, if you want it to appear in the middle, you can just change it to small and then drag it over to wherever you want in the message. Now the other way to attach photos is by clicking this button over here in the corner. This is your photo browser. I currently don't have the photos set up yet, but if you were already started to import your photos into the Photos program here, which we'll go over in a later video, then you can actually access them right in this little photo browser window. You can search through your albums, and you can search by time and place and all that stuff. Now the last thing I want to show you is this button over here, which is used to create stationaries for your emails. This is very useful if you want to send over a pretty looking invitation or something along those lines. Typically you can't have any other attachments, so let me just remove this document, but I'll keep this image in here. And if I click the stationery pane, there's all sorts of little flavors of invitations and stationaries you can choose from, but I'll just choose this party one here. And you'll see what it does is it changes the background and adds in a whole template for a birthday party that I just chose. And I can click the button again to hide the pane, and I can go in and just edit my message. Let's say happy birthday, come hang out with us, and add a bunch of stuff into there. So it'll show up that way when they receive it. It'll look really pretty, especially if they're viewing it on a smartphone or a laptop that's using a mail program like this. It'll show up really nice. So we've went over the essentials of how to receive messages and how to send emails, and now I'm just going to leave you with a few little hotkeys and tips for the mail program to let you get started on your own. So the first is when you receive an email from somebody, there's a very easy way to add someone to your address book, and that is when you are looking at the message here, you can actually click on the person's name and simply press add to contacts. And what it does is it adds, if they have their first and last name, there it adds their first and last name and their email, and the program will actually search the message for if they included a signature that included a street address or a mailing address. It will actually add that to the contact file. It's pretty cool. Just a little shortcut. Another tip is for cleaning up your inbox. We already went over how to file stuff away into our folders just by dragging them. But if you wanted to select multiple emails, there's actually a couple hotkeys I want to show you. Once you select the first one, if you hold Command on the keyboard, you can click on additional emails and it will select them also. Once they're selected, you can delete them all at once, or you can actually file them away all at once. So that's just a useful tip for selecting multiple emails. Another way of grabbing multiple emails is grabbing a whole range of emails. So if you click on the first one, scroll down as far as you want, hold Shift and click on the bottom one, it will actually select all the emails in between. So also a very useful way of clearing out a date range. Like you can scroll to the end of 2015, click on the last email of 2015, scroll to the very bottom to the beginning of 2015, hold Shift and click. Then it will select everything in between, even if it's thousands of emails, and you can delete them all in one click or file them away into a folder called, let's say, 2015 or whatever. So those are just a couple tips to help you clean up your inbox. Those are very common questions that I get. And the last little nugget that I want to leave you with is this help menu. Unlike the help menu in other operating systems, the Apple help menu is very useful. This search will actually search through all of these menus for any kind of feature you're missing. So if you want to find out how to flag something again, I can just type in the word flag. When I move my mouse over it, it will actually show me where I can click on things to do with flagging emails. Very, very powerful search through this help menu. And also, if you are just wanting to learn more about mail, you can go into Mail Help and you can check out the overview. Or actually, the overview, you can get just a general overview of the program, which is kind of like what I'm giving you. And then the show topics, you can get more information about, let's say, sending emails to a group or etc. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll be going over contacts and calendars. And this isn't the last time that we'll be hearing about the mail program. A lot of other programs like Safari, your photos, your messages, they interact with the mail program a lot. There's ways of sharing a web page that you're looking at just by clicking the button up here and hitting email this page, which we'll learn about as we go through those programs. I'll see you next time.